Yo, 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 what is going on, IK fam? I'm back again, of course, and today we're going to be talking about the King of the Hill event. This is a brand new event that has just been added into Infinity Kingdom, and I'm sure most of you who saw this event, you already kind of got an inkling, right? We've seen events like this ran in other kingdom builders, but I'm going to really give you what I feel is going to be a phenomenal educational breakdown on on what the event is. We'll start talking about that, and then I'm going to talk about how there could be potentially big implications for your server if you do not manage this event correctly. Right? So this is really, we're going to start talking a little bit more about kind of server management and realistic expectations that spenders versus free to play should have going into this event. So if you do not want your server to die, please listen to what I'm going to say. And I say that with the most amount of concern for you, the player. I had to think about what I was going to say there for the important word. Okay, what is this event? There's 5 stages in this event. You have troop training, expel gnomes, resource gathering, increasing general lord power, and then lord plunder / your kill event portion or your PvP portion, right? Now, the first 4 stages last 1 day. Stage 5 lasts 2 days, right? So it's a 6-day event. The good thing, let me talk about the good first. The good about this event is, one, it's a new event for IK. It means new content. In addition, it's more free rewards, right? You can never be mad at that as a free-to-play player. Now, when you think about some of the rewards that you can get, right? So you get the top 100 players from each stage get rewarded, and then you have the overall ranking that gets rewarded, right? So stages go up to top 100, and then if you look at the top rewards, they're decent, they're okay, right? You get some gems, some philo stones, right? Some medium optional chests, and then you get some of the XP scrolls. Now, the overall ranking here is really what we're going to start talking about, and I'm going to really have to break down this, so really stay with me here. Now, you have, and usually how these types of events work, is you will have a gated character be available for players that place high in this type of an event. Now, you need 60 immortal shards to unlock, meaning that the top 20 players are going to be able to unlock this immortal, right? At minimum, 11 through 20 is going to be able to just get enough shards to unlock, right? Then you have to look at, again, being able, right now you're going to start kind of getting into your top 3, which is your 91, 20, 20, right? So some of these positions are going to be able to possibly scale 2 skills up Cyrus in this example. The reason why I say this event is really important for you to manage appropriately for your server is because it can get out of control extremely quick. Please do not have any illusions about this type of event. This is a spender event, right? I want to say that at minimum. And that's not to say it's a bad or a good thing, but players have to realize what the event is so you can come in with realistic expectations. I cannot tell you how many games I've played where these kinds of events are in, and you hear nothing but complaints from free-to-play players about how they can never win this event, they can't place high in this event, right? I'm going to leave this server and go to another server where I have a chance. No, you are wrong. I'm going to tell you that right now. This is not a free-to-play event, and if you as a free-to-play player think that you should be able to place high in this event consistently, you are wrong. And that's why I say that it doesn't. Now, let me add a little asterisk here. It doesn't mean that you cannot or you will never have an opportunity to place high in this event when it comes to like stage or even overall rankings. You may be able to, but you have to save up enough resources in order to actually make a good play in this event to potentially place high. That's why I say that that's why I always tell people there's a better use for your resources in this type of an event. For example, even just investing your resources into double rewards is a lot more valuable than investing your resources into something like the King of the Hill event. Again, as a free-to-play player. Keep in mind, again, this is a spender event. Now, the reason I say that is because if you just look at the way that the event is set up, right, typically the most of points that you're probably going to get in this kind of an event arguably is usually going to be in the KE portion or the kill event portion. Now, because there's a limit on your training grounds for how many troops you can train, you would essentially have to keep training and then keep dismantling troops. And during the expel gnome phase, you might be able to rack up a decent amount of points there, because that is actually a valuable phase to use AP on, because it affects your immortals for XP that you get, for materials you get, and then also, oh gosh, where am I going with this? And then also because it'll allow for you to upgrade your boost because of that, right? So it's all immediate investments that you get back, right? Whether it's equipment crystals, whether it's material, whether it's equipment itself that you can break down, or again the XP that you get from attacking. Now, then you look at the third event, which is resource gathering. Everyone's pretty much going to be at more or less the same gathering rate, right? Unless you've like invested a lot into VIP, or you just have an alliance that is, you know, an extremely higher level than you are, and they've invested into, you know, more of their gathering tech, right? Those will be some of the external factors, right? You can also use things like your gathering boosts and other areas, right, to get a little bit of boost gathering inside of your districts. All of that will help factoring into that stage. Then you look at the fourth stage, which is increased power, right? Now, this stage is very similar to the Alliance development event, because in the development event, that's where you're increasing your doing buildings upgrades and then research upgrades that all factor in just to one event. So I do like this in a sense, because it gives you an opportunity to get some rewards in some of these stages if you place well enough. I just don't know if the stage placements are going to be necessarily better than like the Alliance development placements that you'll get, right? As far as the stage, not the actual overall ranking. Though, again, it is still an event that you can invest in certain areas. Then you get to the kill event, which is the last one. Now, kill event is pretty standard, because you have to think about what the implications are going to be for your server as a whole. Keep in mind, players are most likely going to invest hard at Stage 5 of this event than they probably will ever in the general Contention of Lords kill event, right? There still is value there, because the rewards are still okay, but players will most likely look at this KOTH event as more valuable for them to invest their money and their resources, because you're going to be able to unlock immortals before others are. So what that means is that this event is just more, it's going to be more sought after, essentially. Now, the implications of the event is going to be something that you're going to have to be you're really going to have to be cautious about, but more, you're going to have to be very self-aware, because the event can get out of hand real quick. I will give you some examples that I have seen in other kingdom builders that have ran this type of a 5-stage event. What I've seen happen in very successful, professionally organized kingdoms is that you will have spenders who will just spend however much money they want to spend, and some people will just spend enough to basically place high in the event. What happens is it then turns into like a spending bidding war, where it's like who's going to outspend who to place as high as they can. That's why I say this is a spending event, right? Again, it's not a good or a bad thing, but you just have to be aware of it. Now, some good tips, but let me, before I even get to that, what this can cause is for players to potentially leave servers to go to other servers that do not have as big of spenders. So they can basically spend the amount they would normally spend to always win these events. Right? These are things that happen, and they can happen, and they most likely will happen as well in IK. Things to be aware of. In addition, if you do not take time to properly educate players in your server before the event starts, you can run into more challenges where, like I said in the beginning or earlier, your free-to-play players can, you know, again, if they never win these types of events, some people might leave. Some people might go to other servers. Some people might stop playing as much because they don't have, right? I have seen and heard it all, and anything in between. So what are some things you can do to potentially combat this and to address these things before they happen? I'm going to give you some tips. That's why I said wait until later in the video, because I'm going to talk about some good solutions that you, as either the unified servers or the top group of alliances or the governing bodies, can take away. Now, there's 3 ways that you could essentially go about running this event, but we're really going to mainly talk about like the stage 5 kill event portion. And then I'm going to talk a little about how you can utilize the first 4 stages to affect this overall. You can do something like a free-for-all, which basically is pretty standard, right? But you could do it in certain areas. You can do a free-for-all server-wide. You can do a free-for-all in a specific zone, whether you do that in a certain resource zone or you do it in the forbidden zone. So there's 3 different subgroups there when you're doing the free-for-all portion. You can do a semi-fixed event. A semi-fixed means that you are organizing, you're basically predetermining the placements for what the overall rankings are going to be. What this means is that when I say semi-fixed, let's say that you fix the top 10 placements, right? Where the top 10 people that are on the overall rankings by the time Stage 5 starts, you are going to keep those placements. Meaning that any places below 10 can still be fought for. So if you're rank 11 or 10, what that means is that no one can go past the points that the number 10 player has. Right? That's why it's semi-fixed, because you're not fixing the entire top 20. What this will, and I'll talk about what this is going to do. Then you can do a full fixed or just a fixed event, and what you would do is you would fix the top 20 placings. Now, how can you do this? What you do is you take the first 4 stages of the event, and then at the end of Stage 4, or near the end of Stage 4, you send a server mail out and you tell people these are what the placings are going to be, whether you do free-for-all, semi-fixed for the top 10, or a full fix for the top 20, and you say no one can go past the number 10 or the number 20 position, which is your bubble player, right? So let's say that the number 10 player is at, let's say they're at 10 million points, as an example. Or let's just say 1 million points. That means that number 11 can get to 999,000, but they cannot get to 1 million. You cannot pass the top 10 person. In addition, if you do top 20, let's say the number 20 player is at 500,000. So that means that the number 21 player cannot go past 499,000 points, right? Because you're doing a fixed. What will this do? Why is doing these things a good thing? One, it allows for you to limit the amount of money that your spenders are spending on the event, right? Which saves them money for a guaranteed placement, right? If you're doing a semi or full fixed event for KOTH. Trust me when I say your spenders will appreciate you doing this. Now, it doesn't mean, and keep in mind, you can rotate this as well. Let's say you have a lot of spenders, right? Because that's a question I'll probably get. You can say, okay, we'll have whoever wins the top 20 here, right? You could say something like, they can't win the next top 20, or you can swap positions around, right? Where instead of your top 20 players placing, you rotate it. So like whoever placed 2019, right? So you basically just have like place 20 will be number 1, 19 is number 2, right? And you just flop. Right? Again, you could be creative with it. There's a few different ways that you can go about doing it. I'm just giving some examples. Doing it this way, in my opinion, rotating between either a semi-fixed, fixed, and then maybe working a free-for-all in there every once in a while is what I think is a great way to do. It'll help you manage the event better, and it'll help you keep player activity and, more importantly, retention. Retaining players on your server because you're not just letting the event get out of hands. Right? Trust me when I say this is an event you are going to want to really think about before it comes up, because if you mismanage this event, just like mismanaging the kill event, it can be extremely detrimental to your server. So again, I hope y'all enjoyed my perspective on the King of the Hill event. Again, in summary, I still think it's a great addition to the game. I think it's fantastic that they're adding this in earlier than later. It's more rewards for the free-to-play base and for everyone altogether, but you have to really keep in mind about how to manage this event appropriately. I think that's it for me. Again, guys, if you enjoyed this video, or even if you just want to leave a comment, let me know what your thoughts are, right, on what I've talked about. Do you think that this event is going to be good to manage? Do you think this is going to be an event that servers are going to have to manage? Do you think that, no, we don't need to manage it, it'll be fine, right? We're just going to play the game as is, our server will be okay. I would love to know what any of you think, whether it's about either of those questions or anything I've discussed in the video so far. Let me know down in those comments below. And that's it from me. I hope you guys enjoyed as usual, and gals, because always we're gender neutral, typical. That's how we do it. I'm outie. Peace.